Welcome to the last module of nephrotic syndrome. In this module, we will discuss about the management of nephrotic syndrome. Management can be divided into three broad headings. That is, the general measures which we have to take in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, as well as we have to give a specific drug therapy to reduce proteinuria, that is the steroids. We will learn how the steroid is being used in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, and if there is any associated complication with nephrotic syndrome, we have to evaluate the complication, identify it and treat accordingly. That is the treatment of complications. The treatment of complication. Let us discuss one by one. First is the general measures. What are the general measures we have to take in a patient of nephrotic syndrome? As the patient of nephrotic syndrome is full of fluid overload, there is fluid overload in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. There is edema and which result in fluid overload in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. So if we use excess amount of salt in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, it will further aggravate the edema. So salt restriction is a part of general measures in a patient with nephrotic syndrome. Salt restriction help us reduce the edema. It is not that we are not giving a salt to a patient, but extra salt should be avoided. As there is fluid overload in a patient of nephrotic syndrome resulting in edema, we have to monitor very carefully the fluid input and output. So we have to restrict fluid to the amount of fluid loss from the body. Fluid restriction is also a part of general measure in treating a patient of nephrotic syndrome. Fluid should be monitored accordingly, and whatever the output of the fluid, we should give the same amount of fluid as an input, which means urine output should be measured in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, plus we should measure the insensible water loss in a patient. The total amount of urine output plus the total amount of insensible water loss from the body should be measured, and the input of the fluid should match the output of the fluid. The output, which is the urine output as well as insensible water loss, should match the input which the person requires as a fluid. Insensible water loss is measured as 30 ml per kg of body weight in Chitland. As well as we have to monitor the urine output of the patient and give the same amount as a input. Excess fluid will aggravate the edema. As there is proteinuria in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, protein is being lost from the body resulting in hypoalbuminemia. So there is hypoalbuminemia, and hypoalbuminemia will result in so much of metabolic derangement. So extra protein is required for the patient in a nephrotic syndrome, but it is not so that we give more extra amount of protein, but it should be somewhat between 1 to 2 gram per kg per day. Protein is sufficient in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. Extra protein is harmful in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, but it should be in between 1 to 2 gram per kg per day. Now let us discuss about the specific drug therapy. Specific drug therapy, the mainstay of treatment of a patient of nephrotic syndrome is the steroids. The steroids which are used in treatment of nephrotic syndrome are prednisolone and prednisone. Only these two steroids are being found effective in treating a patient of nephrotic syndrome. It is very essential that how we use this steroid in treating a patient of nephrotic syndrome. Nephrotic syndrome is a remitting and a relapsing disease. There is remission of this disease as well as this disease relapse after some times. So it is very essential to knowing the crux of the treatment of a patient of a nephrotic syndrome. The first episode of nephrotic syndrome in a child is considered as to be very essential in treatment part. The first episode of nephrotic syndrome should be treated adequately with both the dose and the duration, because this determines the long-term outcome of the patient of nephrotic syndrome. If the first episode is being treated effectively, there is very less chance of relapse of this disease. But if there is any mistake in treating the first episode of nephrotic syndrome, it can lead to long-term adverse consequences. So the first episode should be treated adequately with both the dose and the duration. So there is a regime known as APN regime for treating this patient of nephrotic syndrome. What is this APN regime? The APN regime says that steroids should be used in dosage form as 2 mg per kg per day for 6 weeks in a patient of nephrotic syndrome, and this dose should not exceed 60 mg. 60 mg is the maximum dose of steroid in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. The total duration of treatment is of 12 weeks. The first 6 weeks we have to use 2 mg per kg per day of steroid, and in the next 6 weeks we have to use 1.5 mg per kg per day of steroids for 6 weeks. The 2 mg is a daily dose for 6 weeks, as well as 1.5 mg is an alternate day dose for the next 6 weeks, and it should not exceed, and the second dose, which is 1.5 mg, should not exceed more than 40 mg. So this is the APN regime, which says that patient of nephrotic syndrome should be treated for the first 6 weeks with 2 mg per kg per day steroid, that is prednisone or prednisolone, and for the next 6 weeks he or she should be treated with 1.5 mg per kg per day steroid on alternate days. How this steroid is given to a patient? It is given in a timed manner. If the total dose comes out somewhat to be 40 mg, then 20 mg and 20 mg should be given in divided dose, and the timing should be matched. If suppose the first morning dose is given at 8 am, then the second dose should be given at night at 8 pm. So in this timed manner we are using this steroid in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. Okay, so after using the APN regime for 12 weeks, there can be abolition of proteinuria, which we say the person has gone into remission, that there is nil or trace protein in urine for 3 days, for 3 consecutive days. After giving treatment with steroid, the patient of nephrotic syndrome can go into remission. Remission means he is now cured, not completely cured, but her or his proteinuria is now abolished for 3 consecutive days. Or the person may be an steroid resistant. He or she may not respond to this steroid treatment for around 8 weeks, and we say that he or she is an steroid resistant nephrotic syndrome. If the proteinuria has not abolished after treatment for around 8 weeks, we say that this person is an steroid resistant nephrotic syndrome. There is no remission after treatment with steroid for 8 weeks, and after remission the person may be completely cured. After remission, the person 20% of the patient of nephrotic syndrome is being completely cured, and he or she may not have a second episode in her lifetime. But for around 40% of the patient of nephrotic syndrome will relapse. Around 40% of the patient of nephrotic syndrome after treatment with steroid, after the first episode, after treatment with steroid will relapse. This relapse can occur after 1 month, after 2 months, after 3 months. Anytime this relapse can occur, and based on the pattern of the relapse, we classify this relapse as a frequent relapse or an infrequent relapse. Frequent relapse patients are those patients which have more than equal to 2 episodes in 6 months or having more than equal to 4 episodes in 12 months are the frequent relapser. If they are having less than this episode, we call this patient as an infrequent relapser. If he or she is having more than equal to 2 episodes in 6 month duration, he is an frequent relapse patient, or he or she is having more than 4 episodes in 12 months, he or she is an frequent relapse patient. If he is having less than this frequency of episodes per 6 months and per 12 months, he is an infrequent relapse. So there is another term regarding treatment of steroid, that is an steroid dependent nephrotic syndrome. What is this steroid dependent nephrotic syndrome? When a person is being treated with a steroid, the person may go into remission, but after stopping the steroid therapy, the person may have relapse. Again, after using steroid treatment, the person will again go into remission. As we reduce the dose of the steroid, or as we completely stop the dose of the steroid, the person relapses, which means the person is dependent on steroid for her remission. So this type of patient is known as steroid dependent nephrotic syndrome, which means reducing the dose of the steroid has resulted in relapse of the disease, as well as completely stopping the dose of the steroid will also result in relapse of the disease. This makes us understand that the steroid is maintaining the remission in the patient. So this type of nephrotic syndrome is called as steroid dependent nephrotic syndrome. After stopping drug therapy, within 14 days there is a relapse. Or if we are reducing the steroid dose of the steroid, that is when we are giving an alternate day therapy, during this period there is a relapse. So this type of patient is known as steroid dependent nephrotic syndrome, and this requires a long term alternate day steroid therapy. So these are the basic pattern of relapse: the frequent relapser, the infrequent relapser, the steroid dependent, and the steroid resistance. So if there is relapse of a patient in a nephrotic syndrome, how we are going to treat this relapse? This relapse is treated with steroid with the dosage that is 2 mg per kg per day, and now this time it is not for the 6 weeks, but this time it is until there is negative or trace proteinuria, which means we have to give this dosage of steroid until there is negative or there is trace amount of protein in the urine, and after that we have to give a dosage of 1.5 mg per kg per day for 4 weeks. that is alternate day therapy. So this is basically the treatment of relapse. When the patient of nephrotic syndrome relapses, we have to start him on the steroid once again with 2 mg per kg per day until her urinary protein becomes nil or trace, and after that we have to give a dosage form of steroid, that is 1.5 mg per kg per day for another 4 weeks. And once we know the pattern of the relapse, we can adjust the dose of the steroid accordingly. Long-term steroid therapy is indicated in patients with steroid dependence, and once the dosage of the steroid need to be increased in patient of nephrotic syndrome, we have to consider the associated complication of the steroid in treating the patient of nephrotic syndrome, which means now the steroid dosage has increased so much that the risk benefit ratio has been decreased. The risk is more and now the benefit is less. In this condition, we have to use some another drug which is known as steroid sparing drugs, which means that the dose of the steroid should be remaining as a constant dose, and we are adding an additional drug which help the steroid do the same function. These drugs are known as the steroid sparing drug, which reduces the associated complication of steroid in treating the patient of nephrotic syndrome. This steroid sparing drugs are used when there is a steroid toxicity, or when we are requiring a dose of steroid that is more than 0.5 to 0.7 mg per kg. When the dose of steroid is required more than 0.5 to more than 0.7 mg per kg, this is the dosage for the long-term duration. In a patient of steroid dependence nephrotic syndrome, we cannot use the dose of steroid more than 0.5. If it is more than 0.5, then the risk benefit ratio increases. The risk increases and the benefit decreases. So in this condition, we have to use the drug which are the steroid sparing drugs. The steroid sparing drugs are the levamisole, cyclophosphamide, mycophenolate mofetil, cyclosporin and tacrolimus. These are not very important for you, but these are the steroid sparing drug. The basic concept behind using the steroid sparing drug is to reduce the complication associated with steroid, the toxicity associated with steroid. Now let us discuss about the treatment of the complication in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. The patient of nephrotic syndrome is having edema. Edema should be managed accordingly. Edema can be managed with simple salt restriction, simple salt and fluid restriction if there is minimum amount of edema. If the edema is not responding to salt or fluid restriction, or if there is massive edema associated with bipedal edema and ascites, then we have to use diuretics. Diuretics in the form of furosemide can be used. The use of furosemide can lead to excretion of potassium in the urine and can lead to hypokalemia. So in addition to furosemide, we can give a drug known as spironolactone. Spironolactone is a potassium sparing drug which counteracts the action of the furosemide and reduces hypokalemia. If the diuretics also fail to control the edema, then we have to use an albumin. 5% or albumin 20% can be used to control edema. If the albumin is also not responding in treatment of edema, and if there is symptomatic ascites is leading to respiratory distress, then we have to go for paracentesis and manually remove the fluid from the body cavity. So in this way we can manage the complication, that is edema associated with nephrotic syndrome. The second complication associated with nephrotic syndrome is the infection. We have to identify the infection and treat with antibiotics. The third complication associated with nephrotic syndrome is anemia. Anemia can be treated with blood transfusion in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. How the thrombotic complication is treated in a patient of nephrotic syndrome? We can use anticoagulant plus minus thrombolysis therapy. If there is thrombotic complication associated with nephrotic syndrome, if renal failure occurs, then we have to go for dialysis in a patient of nephrotic syndrome. So in this way we can manage the patient of nephrotic syndrome under three broad headings. The general measures include salt and fluid restriction, adequate diet which is protein rich diet. In specific therapy we have to give steroid in different dosage form, that is in APN regime we have to give steroid for 12 weeks for 12-week duration, that is for the first 6 weeks we give steroid in a dose of 2 mg per kg per day for 6 weeks, and in the next 6 weeks we have to use 1.5 mg per kg per day of steroid, that is alternate day therapy. One day we give it, the next day is an off day, and the third day is a drug day. So in this way we treat the patient, the first episode patient of nephrotic syndrome. If there is relapse, we have to again treat the patient of nephrotic syndrome with steroid, but this time we have to use the drug, that is the steroid, in the form of 2 mg per kg per day until the protein in the urine disappears or it becomes a trace, and after that we have to treat for another 4 weeks or 3 weeks for 1.5 mg alternate day steroid therapy. Thank you.